Something big is brewing in New York as a new report has revealed a new Rangers trade target. And with the turn of the new year, the Rangers have been playing some fantastic hockey and they could find themselves in this year's Stanley Cup playoffs. We're going to break down that new trade target and how the Rangers could make the playoffs in this video. But before we do that, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 74% of you who watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel. So if you're a huge New York Rangers fan, if you want to stay up to date with everything going on with the Rangers, it's free. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Now, there's a lot going on with the Rangers, obviously, and we'll get to that later in the video. And there's potential now for them to make the playoffs. They've been playing some good hockey, but a new report dropped yesterday, and this is from New Jersey and revolving around the New Jersey Devils, but I think it's something interesting that we should touch on in regards to the New York Rangers. So the New Jersey Devils, are having a tough time with the development of former second overall pick Simon Nemec, and he has been up and down between the NHL and the AHL the last couple of years, and now more notably with the AHL's Utica Comets. So obviously, he went through a really tough period in his career. It's over now. I'm playing my hockey again. But one thing I thought was very interesting is this is a direct quote from Simon Nemec. It's hard to say. It's still too early to request the trade. If this situation continues, it will have to be addressed. But for now, this is how it stands. And I think this is a very interesting player right now that the Rangers, or other teams around the league could be looking at this quote and saying, wow, I wonder if we try to get this guy now, because maybe it's too early for him to request the trade, but where he is in his development, you could probably pick him up for a little bit cheaper than if he was in the NHL right now making an impact like everyone thought he was going to be, right? Now, the Rangers also have a tough time developing talent like this, so I'm not sure if this is, a 100% fantastic move, a slam dunk, right? A no-brainer, something like that, but I think this is something the Rangers should certainly look at and discuss, because he is a former second overall pick, right-handed defenseman. He's another guy that can help retool the blue line. Again, trading with the Devils, it almost makes you want to just vomit, right? Like, you don't want to do that. There's a lot of teams around the league that just do not trade with each other, and this could be one of those situations. But anyway, a couple holes in his game as well. Again, he's a young player still, but he has the tendency to pinch at dumb times, right? Like, his hockey IQ is there. He's obviously a great player, a great young player, but there's a few holes in his game in that regard. So just something to keep out, or a lookout for in terms of that. And in terms of his stats, again, bouncing between the NHL and the AHL the last couple of years. He had a decent season in 23-24 in the NHL in terms of point production. I mean, he had almost 20 points in 60 games there with 19 points, and that's not bad. But, predominantly in the AHL right now. He's only played 9 games so far this season. So he keeps bouncing back and forth. Again, former second overall pick. I wonder if the Rangers take a look at this. It might cost quite a bit, but the Devils are looking to make a run, so they might be looking to make a dumb trade to acquire maybe an older player that they think may put them over the top or something like that. So I wonder if this is something the Rangers look at. Again, I don't want to trade with the New Jersey Devils, but maybe it's something they look at since this player may be available coming up soon here. Again, only 20 years old still. Very young player. We'll take a look at his stats one last time. Very young player still. But he could be an impact player if he is developed properly. Again, Rangers have a tough time doing that, but I think he could be an interesting piece for the New York Rangers to at least take a look at here. But anyway, moving on from trade talk, the Rangers are on a bit of a roll now. They're on a bit of a hot streak, I'll call it even. Winning a bunch of games since the turn of the calendar year. 2025 came around, and the Rangers have been playing some good hockey, not only picking up wins, but the caliber of hockey, and I'll get to that in a second. This is from Rangers PR. The Rangers conclude their 3-game road swing, earning a 5 of possible 6 points, and have extended their point streak to 6 games, 4-0-2 in that stretch. And since January 2nd, since the turn of the new year, the New York Rangers have points in 7 of 8 games. They are 5-1-2 since 2025 started. Not bad at all. Huge win in Utah last night. And again, this week I was saying was critical, right? Like, if they got a point against the Avs, you probably would have wanted to win that game, especially with 2 goals from your fourth line. Like, that would have been a great game to win. Obviously, the Avalanche have a potent offense, right? And a potent offense from their defense as well. So you lose that game, you get a point out of it, you come into this one, you need this win, they pick up a huge win. Maybe they didn't deserve to win. We'll get into it in a second, the fine details of the game, but You pick up a win, and heading into this weekend, you play two teams that you are actively chasing for the final playoff spots in the East. The Columbus Blue Jackets and the Montreal Canadiens on a back-to-back. This is a big weekend. This is a big stretch. They've been playing some good hockey. If they pick up a couple wins here, they are right back in the playoff picture. And a lot of fans are saying, what's the point of making the playoffs, right? It's still good for the development of some of the younger players on this team to make the playoffs and at least have, get in there. And where they are right now, like, you either want to finish bottom 5 or you want to be in the playoffs, I think, if you're the Rangers. You never want to be in the middle. At least make it exciting. At least give us something to cheer about in the playoffs. And you never know, right? These are still majority of the same guys on this team that have given us some good memories the last couple of years. So maybe they could do something crazy if they're playing a younger team that finished higher in the standings. And imagine a New Jersey Devils and New York Rangers first round matchup once again. Could go the way of the Rangers this year. You never know. They could surprise. Who knows? But it'd be interesting because there's a lot of pressure on the Devils this year. Just throwing that out there. But another person to highlight, Sam Carrick, the last couple of games, putting in the work. This is what I'm talking about. Winning puck battles. He's winning a ton of puck battles. He wins this puck battle to, Panarin, who then scores the empty netter on the night. He's had a great last couple of games, from back-checking to scoring goals, overtime winners. He's had a great stretch of games since the turn of the calendar year. He's been phenomenal. And from Johnny Lazarus, I wanted to bring this up because it's an interesting point. I talked about it in my video yesterday. Will Borgen. Are the Rangers going to trade Will Borgen? I think it depends as if they're in a playoff spot or not. And Johnny Lazarus is saying, probably don't do that. He plays a very sound, simple, and physical game. I think it's a very interesting point. He is a very simple player. Again, very simple. 4 points in 45 games so far this season, right? He plays a pretty decent amount of ice time. He eats up there. Again, don't want to look too much into plus minus. He was playing in Seattle as well. But he is still a young option. He plays a very boring, simple game. And sometimes I think you need that on your team. Every team needs a guy like this. So I do think that it is still possible that they flip this player at the trade deadline if they're out of a playoff spot. But I wouldn't be mad if they kept him and re-signed him because, he plays a very boring, physical game. And I think that's fine. It's simple. Simple wins championships. Defense wins championships. So I think that's actually a good thing. We're seeing it around the league. The game, sometimes you overcomplicate it and you're going to lose, right? Keandre Miller, for example, I think his biggest problem is, first of all, the hockey IQ in certain situations. And he overcomplicates his game so much. If you play a simple game, good things will come your way. So that's what Will Borgen does. So I wouldn't be mad if they re-sign it, but I do think he is still, it really depends where the Rangers are come the trade deadline, where they are in the standings. Igor Shesterkin, it was a tough start to the game, but it was nasty work from the defense, right? They really left him out to dry on those first 2 goals by Utah, but settled in very nicely, made a lot of saves, obviously 28 on the night, and the Rangers maybe didn't deserve to win this game, but Shesterkin, he makes a couple saves that maybe other goalies wouldn't, and you have a chance to win every single night, and you take advantage of it. So love to see that. Shesterkin's doing his thing. Looks like he might be back in the swing of things a little bit. And again, from the Garden Faithful, next 4 games are all against teams the Rangers are within 5 points of in the standings. All 4 of them competing for a wild card spot. Again, the 2 biggest matchups, I think, are this weekend against Columbus and Montreal. So this is going to be, it might be a reverse of last season. I think that's fun. Maybe the Rangers make it interesting down the stretch here. They're playing some great hockey as of late. Really good team defense. Like, it's getting better, right? And this is what I've been talking about all season. It's not just the 6 guys on defense. It's the overall team defense. And there was some lapses last night. You saw it with some of the center help. Zibanejad kind of, lagging behind on some plays. And I've seen you guys in the comments chirping me for my jersey choice. There's some more jerseys on the way. All right, we're going to get something going here. I see you chirping me. At one point, it was a good decision, but I think he still has more hockey left in him. I think he has some good decisions still left in him. And he's been playing better as of late as well. But a couple lapses last night. But still, better team defense. That's my point, and that is how you win hockey games. And the last thing I will mention before we wrap up here, absolute beauty, Sam Rosen. Great quote last night. Shout out to Utah and their game staff for obviously giving a little bit of a tribute to him. His only trip to Utah this year, and I guess his last. So nice little new experience for Sam Rosen in his final season, and a great quote there. We all love Sam Rosen as well. It's going to be so weird to see Rangers games without him calling them next year and beyond that. So love, I just wanted to highlight this because I have been every time I see a team doing this. So shout out to Utah for doing it. And it's going to be a very interesting last stretch here of the season for Sam Rosen to call, because the Rangers they might be back. They're playing some decent hockey. We'll see what they do around the trade deadline. So let me know what you think about Simon Nemec, and let me know what you think about the Rangers play as of late. It has been much better. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.